Okay. So, do you write stories of books, or are each one a different story?
So I have a little bit of everything. I've got some books that are just short stories. I have some books that are by themselves, and I'm working on a series right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, babies in their diapers, welcome to the Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.
That's me, Tiberius.
And welcome to the Tiberius Show today, and I'm your host, Tiberius Boy. And as always, we're looking at various jobs and how they affect the world around us. Today's guest is going to be very interesting. We're going to talk to software engineer with a background in construction, preacher, board game designer. Wait, what does this guy not do? Okay, so you know what? Let's just start off with software engineer. That's a big one. So, do we know what this is? Yeah, I think I have an idea. But you know what? Let me just introduce our next guest to the one, the only, the amazing Will Neely.
Hey, Tiberius.
Well, thank you for being on the show, Will.
My pleasure.
Okay, so you are listed as, well, a ton of jobs. But you know what? Let's just start with software engineer. So what exactly does it mean?
Software engineer is someone who designs and writes all the stuff, the code, the programs that make all of your computer stuff work. If you like video games, then a software engineer had a big hand in that. If you use any medical device, your car, pretty much everything we use in the modern day has software somewhere inside it, and an engineer designed that.
Okay. So what got you interested in working in this field? I mean, did you always like computers?
I did. What got me was probably what got a lot of people. I loved video games as a kid, and I got to the point that I wanted to make my own. So that was a long time ago. There used to be books about computer programming at the library. I'd check some out, and nowadays you can just look it up on the internet. But we did not have the internet back then. So
Well, software engineers made the internet.
true.
So, well, it says here that you used to build websites and worked in construction. Did those jobs help you to build up your skills to be a better software engineer?
The website job definitely did. The construction, not so much.
So, working as a software engineer, do you work remotely at home or in an office?
It's possible to do it from home. A lot of software engineers do work from home. With my job, some of the stuff that I do has to be in a certain location. So um, for those parts of the job, I have to be in an office.
So, do you need a really high-end computer in order to be able to do your job?
You need a pretty good computer. Thankfully, if someone is going to hire you to be a software engineer, they'll often be able to provide the computer as well.
So, what kind of applications do you work on?
So what I do is I design software for U.S. government, and I work on tools to help some pretty important people do some pretty important things. So it's the best way to put it.
Okay, so what's the most fun part about your job?
Oh man, the most fun part about my job is being able to think up an idea or a cool concept and be able to make it happen in the real world or the computer world.
Well, do you have to test your apps, or does someone else do that for you?
For me personally, I have to write tests that then get run against my app to make sure that it keeps working as other people develop it. There's a lot of people that work together. Um, you know, if you're using an app that hasn't been well tested, you probably won't be using that app for very long.
Yeah. So, what is one thing you think kids should know about working as a software engineer?
Oh, one thing. I don't. It can be really fun. There's a lot of math and there's a lot of like fiddly work involved, but at the end of the day, you look at something that didn't exist and now it exists, and you help do that. And that's pretty cool.
Well, here seems like a good time to take a quick commercial break. Let's hear a word from our sponsors.
All right.
So you want to make an ad for your company, right?
Yeah, Tiberius, you want to help me?
Okay, so what's the name of the company?
PPWND.
PP what?
Professional Pressure Washing and Detailing.
So you like clean driveways?
Yeah, like that. We pressure wash commercial buildings and semi-truck and trailers.
So how would someone get a hold of you?
They can visit my site at ppwnd.com or call me at 407-900-7793.
So I just tell them to call you at 407-900-7793 or visit ppwnd.com?
Yeah, Tiberius, you got it.
Cut! That's a wrap! Just use that!
Oak Ridge Gun Range is a family-oriented shooting range that has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in basic firearm training and offer numerous services such as consignments, gun trades, gunsmithing, and concealed weapon classes. I even got my training for gun safety at Oak Ridge Gun Range. Great customer service. And firearm safety is what they do best. So find out more at oakridgegunrange.com.
And we are back here talking with Will Neely. Will makes board games and writes science fiction books? Ooh. So, Will, it says here that you're an author. How many books have you written?
I have written 6, and I'm working on numbers 7 and 8 right now.
Wow. Okay. So, what motivated you to want to become an author?
I always loved reading, and I kept thinking of cool ideas, and I just wanted to start putting some of them down so they wouldn't go away. And I loved it so much, I never stopped.
Okay. So, do you write stories of books, or are each one a different story?
So I have a little bit of everything. I've got some books that are just short stories. I have some books that are by themselves, and I'm working on a series right now.
Okay. So how long does it take to really write a really good story?
That depends on how much time you're going to put into it, which is kind of not a whole answer. My first book took me about 4 years. My second one took me about a year. So somewhere between that.
Huh. So what motivated you to start writing?
I loved to read, and I just had so many cool ideas that I wanted to start putting down.
So why should a kid in school right now think about growing up and becoming a software engineer or writer?
Oh, man. So I think that software engineers and writers, honestly, are pretty similar because we have ideas in our heads. We want to get them out there into the world and share them with other people. And we can do that by writing language, computer language, English, whatever language we know. And so I think that a reason for doing that would be if you have cool ideas or you want to create cool things, and you want a way to be able to do that.
Well, do you think it's better reading a paper book or listening to an audiobook?
I prefer the paper book, but a lot of my friends prefer the audiobook, and I can see why. You can drive and read at the same time.
So why do you like paper books better?
I'm not sure. I think I just like being able to read faster than the audiobook takes. Audiobooks seem too slow to me.
So what's the craziest thing that you've had to deal with in your career?
Craziest thing? That's a hard question. I'm gonna say I don't have a good answer for that. I'm going to say that there was one time in a previous career where there were 5 of us that were kind of in charge of stuff, and in the space of about 2 months, 4 of them left, and it was just me, and I had to run a whole lot of things by myself, and I wasn't ready for that.
Ow.
So, yeah, that was crazy. Yeah.
Well, if you could work anywhere in the world, where would it be?
If I could work anywhere in the world, I would own a really nice RV, and I would drive from city to city writing books and then stopping at conventions to sell them.
Huh. So how do you think the job of software engineers will change in the future?
Well, a lot of people are learning how to use AI, and people think that AI will be able to write software. I don't think it will, but I think it'll be able to help engineers. So those of us who write software will have to learn how to use AI tools better. And also, we'll have to be pretty good ourselves to know when the AI is wrong, because that still happens a lot.
Yeah. So what is one cool fact about being an author that kids might not know?
When you go to like conventions, I go to comic conventions and sell my books. When you go there, you get to see some pretty famous people that maybe you weren't expecting to see.
Okay. So was it hard to find someone to publish your book?
So it was a little bit of an effort. I started off just self-publishing, and I still have some books that are self-published. But at one of the conventions that I go to, I met some guys from a publisher, Jumpmaster Press, and I talked with them. And over the course of a few months, I sent them my work, and they liked it enough to publish it. So they're doing my series right now. Yep.
Okay. So Will, what is the most misunderstood part about your work?
Which work? The engineering or the writing? All of them. Most misunderstood part about being a software engineer is that people think if you're a computer guy, you kind of know all the computer stuff.
You don't. I'll
you
be
don't.
so for real. You don't. I'm a son of a computer guy. I know.
Okay, yeah, you know.
You don't.
Yeah. Computer hardware engineering is not software engineering. And software engineering, what level are you talking about? Are you, do you do embedded stuff? Do you do, applications? Do you work on UI? There's a whole lot. And there's so much now that one person can't be an expert at everything.
So who can you say has helped or inspired you the most?
Oh. So I think probably I owe whatever success I've had to a lot of people, but I think there was a guy from my church that knew that I was interested in development and needed some experience, and he helped me out quite a lot with being able to get some work and learn how to do certain things, and he gave me the tools to continue to learn even more, which is what led to my current career. So probably him.
Okay, well, what is the best advice that you've ever received, and who gave you that advice?
I've been told by a lot of different people, and this is true. If you really think that something is worthwhile, then it's also worth putting a lot of work into. I think when you do a lot of work when you're younger and you're not afraid of working hard, it makes it a lot easier when you're older. So I worked pretty hard, but I wish that I'd listened more and worked a little harder.
So what message do you want to tell children all over the world about doing the work that you do?
Oh man, listen, stay curious. If there's anything that you wonder how it works or why it works, find out. You have the entire internet. You can find out the answers to your questions. So stay curious and find out the answer to everything you wonder.
On that note, let's take a quick break to pay some bills.
The Tiberius Show would like to thank one of their dedicated sponsors, Custom Designs Orlando. These guys are on Mills Avenue and do all sorts of stuff, ranging from photo ID badges, engraved signs, custom braille ADA signs, vinyl lettering to trophies and awards. The cool part about Custom Designs is they can ship products all over the United States. You can reach them at 407-898-0373 and tell them that
Tiberius
sent you.
Over 40 years, Lighthouse Central Florida has provided education, independent life skills, and job training to thousands of Central Floridians who live with blindness or any degree of vision loss. Whether it's picking out clothes in the morning or just moving around your community and serving Orange, Seminole, and Osceola counties, contact Lighthouse Central Florida at 407-898-2483 or visit them online at lighthousecfl.org.
And we are back with Will Neely, board game creator. Wait, what? So, Will, I love board games. What type of board games did you make?
So first let me say, I never got paid to make board games. I tried to kickstart one and it did not go well, but I really enjoyed making them anyway. I like games with a lot of strategy. And so I made one where you explore underground and it was kind of steampunk flavored. So you kind of built your equipment as you explored and you had to escape. And then I got into making games that were had simple rules, but could be like some deep strategy. as I got older, I liked games where it was easy to learn them, but then you could play them over and over. So I made some where you were like thieves trying to pick locks by putting together certain combinations of colors and shapes. And then I made one where you were it was one where you had a deck that was themed around like one of the elements. And so you'd have a fire themed deck or a water themed deck, but halfway through the game, you'd have to switch with the person next to you. So whatever they picked, you had to deal with that. And that was kind of fun. I played that one a lot.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah,
first
that's,
one sounds a lot like Clang, Catacombs or something. But
yes.
do you think board games could be used to make writing books easier?
Yeah, a lot of authors do that. That you'll sometimes read a book and you'll think this was possibly inspired by a game, and then as a lot of authors find success, you'll see that oh wait, they made a whole board game based on their series or tabletop. Yeah. So I have thought about with my current series, for example, is like a Western fantasy mashup. So think cowboys, magic, and monsters. I think that could be a pretty fun board game.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
So, Will, what was that one thing that happened in your career that you did not expect?
I did not expect to be an engineer at all. I did not expect to do this. I worked full time in church work. I was a pastor before this, and I thought that I might do that forever, and also maybe write books on the side. And then a few years ago, I transitioned to full time software, and it was a surprise. I wasn't expecting it, but I was happy to switch.
Okay, well, do you think AI has a positive role in your industry, or are you worried it might take over parts of a job and cost people a living?
I think that people will try to make it take over stuff that it shouldn't take over yet. I think overall it can have a positive effect, but ultimately, like, AI is a tool, and so if you say, well, is this if you hold up a crowbar and say, is this crowbar good or bad? I'd say, well, what are you doing with it? So I think AI is the same way. It can be used for good or for bad, and we'll probably see a lot of both.
Okay. Well, if you could go back in time and give your 14-year-old self advice, what would it be?
Oh man. So I would tell my 14-year-old self, um, music is fun, but don't get your first degree in music, because that's what I did, and it worked out. It worked out, but it did make a lot of things harder later on. I really, you'll hear a lot of times, get a degree in something that you love, or do something you love. That can be good advice, but I think it's better advice to get a degree in something that you don't hate, and then you can do that and support the thing that you love.
So, besides your degree that you apparently didn't like, what was the biggest mistake that you've ever made, and how did it change you as a person?
Oh, the biggest mistake I think I've ever made was being afraid to admit what I don't know. Truth is, nobody knows everything. But some people, and I was one of these, and sometimes I still am. Some people feel like they should know everything. They should have all the answers, especially when you get put in charge of something. The first time that you're in charge of something and you're the boss, you are expected to have the answers. And if you don't have them, then you can not want to admit it. But if you don't kind of admit what you don't know, then you can't be open to hearing the way things should be, or to getting help.
Yeah, I kind of get that a lot when school group presentations come along.
Yes. Hey, the first time that I wrote a book, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what I didn't know, but I had learned a little better. So I went online and found groups of people who had gone through the same thing I had, and I learned how to do the layout and the self-publishing and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So
Totally
what do you do for fun when you're not working?
Oh, mostly I write. Mostly I write these days. I do sometimes play video games, but it's mostly write.
Okay, so do you what's your favorite video game? Since you said you played video games.
My favorite video game right this moment is probably The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I like that one a lot.
Ooh, the new one.
Yeah. I have played
have
every
Skyward
Zelda.
Sword.
Sorry, what?
I have Skyward Sword, the one on the Switch. The
Yes.
really old one.
Yes. So I played the first Zelda game when it first came out on the Nintendo system at my house, and I've played all of the main Zelda games since then, and I really like the newest one a lot.
Huh. So what's your favorite book to read, other than your own?
Oh man, my favorite book. I like. There's an author, a fantasy author, named Brandon Sanderson, and I like his Mistborn series a lot. It's the first few were a trilogy, and I like those a lot. I also like kind of the more modern urban fantasy stuff. So some of the Jim Butcher books, and then Larry Correia does like the Monster Hunter stuff. That's fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I write books, I want them to be fun. So I try to think about these guys and what do I like about their books? Why are they fun? What parts don't I like? Why are those not fun? So I really try to focus on that.
Okay. Now, can you tell me that one story? Remember, this is a kid's show. That one story, well, that you're not supposed to tell me about. Come on, you can tell me.
Okay. All right. So going way back, when I was a kid, my favorite thing to do was to ride my bike around the neighborhood on Saturday. Usually with the guy next door. We were friends. So I was probably 4 or 5 at this point, and we're riding. And one Saturday, and I just remember he looked down. He was like, "What are you doing?" And we were riding our bikes on the sidewalk. I said, "What?" I had no idea what he meant. And he said, "What are you doing? Where are your pants?" And I just left my shorts inside. Was riding the bike in the neighborhood with no pants on. I still to this day don't know why. I haven't done that since that I remember. So there you go.
What?
I don't know. I have no good reason for this.
Okay. Well, is there anything else you think my listeners should know about you and what you do, other than not wearing pants?
Well, I want to stress that I wear pants now. Yeah, I don't know. I really am, and I mentioned this earlier. I really am curious about everything. I never planned to be an author. I always liked reading. Never really planned to design board games. Never really planned to be in software. But I'm just curious in everything. And you've seen from my rap sheet that there's not a whole lot that I haven't at least tried at one point. And I still enjoy everything. So if you want to know that about me, I do like everything, and I like most people that I meet too.
Well, do you have a Facebook or a website for my listeners who want to follow you?
Yes, absolutely. So you can always, first of all, you can find me on Amazon. If you search my name on Amazon, I'm there. But also a Will Neely author, all one word, at Facebook. So facebook.com/Will Neely author. That'll take you to my Facebook page.
Well, what is that one question that you think I forgot to ask you?
Let's see. I don't think you forgot to ask, but I would say that you should probably say, "Hey, Will, what is your favorite one of your books?" So if our listeners want a place to start reading.
Well, what is that one book of your favorites of your books that you would want my listeners to start reading?
If I had to pick, I'd say the one is called The Quick and the Undead. It's the first book of my Six Away Star series, which is the fantasy western mashup. So,
Okay.
The Quick and the Undead by Will Neely. That's what I recommend. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Will, for being my special guest. And can you stick around for Math Corners?
Yeah.
Aw, Dad, my computer's slow again and I can't play my games.
Call Your Computer Solutions today, and we will scan for viruses and clean that computer up remotely and make it fast again. Our phone number's 407-826-0810.
Thanks, Dad. My computer's fast again. Now I can do my homework. Thanks for calling Your Computer Solutions at 407-826-0810.
Tiberius' favorite subject, it's Math Corners!
And now it's time for Math Corners. Thank you, Will, for helping me with Math Corners. This week, we're just on multi-step word problems, and my dad is always good at finding problems for me to solve. And today, we are going to talk about writing code.
Oh boy.
Your favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so Liam is learning how to code a simple game. He plans to work on it every day after school. His goal is to finish it in 5 days. On the first day, he writes 120 lines of code. On the second day, he writes 150 lines. On the third and fourth days, he writes 100 lines each day. So how many lines of code does Liam need to write on the fifth day to reach a total of 600 lines?
Oh, you're asking.
I'm joking. I can do it. Well, first, this is a world problem because, it's important to plan out time to reach deadlines or software. But I don't really think it's really based on lines of code. But you know what? Let's just solve it for the sake of math.
Fair.
So first, I have to add the lines of code that he wrote in 4 days. 120 and 150 is 270, and add 2 more days of 100, and that's 470. That was super easy. Next, he wants to reach 600 lines. So wait, that can't be that easy. I mean, he has to, subtract 470 from 600 to get 130 lines of code for the fifth day. I mean, that's it. 130 lines of code.
Good job.
Well, thank you. So, Will, do you have to plan out how many lines of code that you need to write per day, or is it a certain amount of results for the final part that matters?
Yeah, no, it's results. Actually, there's in software engineering, a lot of times you'll write out everything and have a whole bunch of lines of code, and then you'll do something called refactor, where you go back and you change the code without changing the result. And a lot of times you'll have fewer lines of code after that because the code is cleaner and better at that point. So sometimes progress is taking away lines of code.
You want to have less lines of code because you want one thing to have less lines.
Yeah, often.
Because
yeah.
it works faster.
It can, yeah. It's easier for the next human to know what's going on for sure.
Well, my teacher said that I would use math every day. How do you use math with your work?
I use math constantly. I work in modeling, which is math representations of the real world. And then I also, every time that I'm writing, I look at the little counter on the bottom that tells me how many words I've written, because I know that I have a daily goal. And if I don't hit that daily goal, I'm going to fall behind my deadline.
And thank you so much, Will, for your help with Math Corners.
Thank you.
And now it's time for the Heart of the Lion. As you know, we talk about the qualities of living by the heart of the lion, which stands for leadership, integrity, obedience, and nobility. This week, we're going to talk about integrity. For me, I think integrity is doing what is right, even when no one else is looking. The qualities of integrity is honesty, sincerity, truthfulness, and fairness. Well, my dad is a computer guy, but on the side, he also prints business cards like mine. Well, he had a client that ordered cards and then asked for the edges to be rounded. My dad forgot and did it without them and without getting them cut. So, the client was upset because they were behind in getting the job done. But, when it arrived, he remembered that he had to send it back to get it die cut. So, he then had to call the client and tell them that he made a mistake and discounted the job by 20%. The client was happy about his honesty and said that they would wait until they came. So that was integrity, because he could have easily blamed it on the shipping or any other reason. But you know what? He wanted to be fair and show me that the right way to do business. So, Will, did you see or use integrity at all this week?
Yeah. So we're the software that I write is used, like I said, by some people to do some pretty important jobs. And sometimes I could write a sloppy test and let sloppy code get in, or I could choose to write some very strict tests for my own code and make sure that what I produce is the best that it can possibly be. And that's what I do, honestly, every week. That's kind of our habit at my company. But I did it this week. Had to spend a lot of time writing some very detailed tests to make sure that the code that I write does the job that it's supposed to do for a long time.
Okay, well, of all the Heart of a Lion virtues, which is the one that you see the most?
Ah, man. I think I see leadership most. I work with a lot of very dedicated people, and they are very very much care that things are headed the right direction.
Well, we should always try to be lion strong in everything we do, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
And that's our show, folks. I want to thank the one, the only, the amazing Will Neely for being on my show. It has been so much fun talking to you today. I think we learned a lot about your work as a software engineer and a published author.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. And if you or your listeners want to look me up, facebook.com/Will Neely author. Look me up.
Okay. Well, also, you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at The Tiberius Show. And I would thank WWPR 1490 AM, KNT98, Soul Radio 24/7, Easyway TV, and all the other stations that air my show. And please be sure to visit The Tiberius Show on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Will, please tell me you're subscribed.
I am subscribed.
Oh, and be sure to leave me a comment if you want to learn more about being an engineer. I answer all the comments myself. Also, be sure to listen to us next time on The Tiberius Show with your host, Tiberius Boy.